Um, we are here to offer a statement as Undugu Society of Kenya. These are my colleagues. We work in this space with street-connected communities. So we want to demand accountability following the unexplained deaths of street-connected children and youth. But I begin this by saying that one life lost is one too many. And it perturbs me because we are not angry as a country, that people can lose lives and they are buried and no one says anything. So in that context, I would like to inform you that Undugu Society of Kenya for 53 years has addressed streetism and homelessness in Kenya. We work with street-connected communities to transform their socio-economic circumstances by building practical skills and entrepreneurship initiatives that do not wholly require academic credentials. We also support these marginalized groups in overcoming drug and substance abuse and other challenges associated with street life. In this context, we express grave concern over the unexplained deaths of at least 15 street-connected youth and children, according to reports, in the past month, and the complete absence of accountability from government agencies. While we acknowledge the government's commitment to waive hospital, mortuary, and cemetery bills, and provide financial support to affected families, we view these measures as cosmetic, knee-jerk, and inadequate solutions that fail to address the underlying systemic failures responsible for these deaths. These deaths and related harms illustrate both the harsh realities of street life and the failure of state agencies to fulfill their mandate to ensure rights and services for children and youth. These agencies are constitutionally obligated to provide social facilities that serve all Kenyans and residents equitably. The recent burial of the 9 street-connected individuals must not become the grave that buries the ongoing human rights violations these marginalized communities endure. Street-connected communities live in conditions that define homelessness in its most severe. Their daily lives are marked by fear, uncertainty, and harassment by law enforcement agencies. They face persistent hunger and exclusion from essential services, particularly those requiring legal identification. They are victims and survivors of systemic exclusion, social discrimination, legal barriers, and economic marginalization. We extend our condolences to these families for their loss. However, we call upon the government of Kenya, guided by constitutional imperatives, to take the following urgent actions. 1, we demand that they conduct thorough investigations, undertake comprehensive investigations to establish the circumstances that led to the deaths of these connected individuals and make the findings public to ensure accountability and transparency. 2, provide legal identification. Urgently implement targeted programs to provide street-connected communities with legal identification documents, including national identification cards and birth certificates. This will reduce discrimination and exclusion in violation of Article 27 of the Constitution. We demand that they are guaranteed personal security. We want them to ensure that the right to personal security and safety of all persons is upheld without compromise, in accordance with Article 29 of the Constitution. We demand agency accountability. We need that agencies be held accountable, the ones tasked with reducing and eradicating streetism and homelessness, to the highest accountability standards, while providing them with adequate resources to fulfill their mandate. We ask the government to demand to enhance reformed criminal justice system, and this will mean we need to strengthen efforts to decriminalize and reclassify petty and state-regulated offenses that have become persistent points of abuse by law enforcement agencies, including national police, county inspectorates, and private sector service providers, and sometimes members of the public, particularly in urban centers. We also demand redesigning of urban development and settlement policies to comprehensively address homelessness as a rights-based issue rather than solely through market-driven models that favor those with economic means. Current affordable housing, for instance, must be restructured to genuinely serve those experiencing homelessness. Having said that, I would like to remind us that Undugu Society of Kenya remains committed to working with state and non-state actors to address homelessness through dignity, justice, and accountability. However, justice for state-connected children and youth cannot be deferred, obscured, or substituted with charity. Their lives matter as well, and the Constitution demands more. And this is so partly because the street-connected people are voiceless, and nobody seems to speak on their behalf. We have been doing that for the last 53 years. So the children and youth who were lost from Lango Kubwa, Mathare, Kariobangi, Pangani, and Shormoyo, are victims of a process that is systemic. And we would like this government to remember that even data that is available for socio-economic communities is dated 2018, and therefore that data is outdated. While they say for 6,000 households, we estimate over 300,000 as people who work in this space. My colleagues work in this space. Jacinta works in Mathare, Irene works in Tandora, Patrick works in Kariobangi. And so we are in these spaces with these people. But the reasons why they are even in those spaces is because they are harassed in towns. They are actually hounded out of city centers. And they only go to places that look less governed. So a number of things that we'd like to speak to. One is data. This government needs to improve data. Two, we need to provide safe spaces for these people so that then they can express themselves and share with us their challenges. They go through things that are not reported. Extrajudicial killings. When people say people had marks, likely were beaten by public, most of the time it's extrajudicial killings and nobody talks about it, and they're enforced to disappear and no one speaks about it. So our statement is to say this government must take its accountability standard higher than it is.